Here we are. Welcome everyone to episode 11 of Notes with Jack. My name is Alan Fox, and I'm here with the director of the 1997 revival of The Little Foxes, Jack O'Brien.
That's correct.
What was that? Because I'm curious, because some
Stockard
obvious
Channing,
things.
Stockard Channing and me.
Yeah.
You know, years ago when we first met, we've been really close friends for a very long time.
Yeah.
And we hadn't, I tried to warm up. I guess this is...
Should we do some vocal exercises to get going?
I'm beginning to think this is going to be it. I keep thinking it's a temporary condition, but I mean, I'm turning to sort of Satchmo.
Oh, man, it's your trademark.
I know. We used to talk about pins in the map. I talk a lot to actresses, Marsha Mason and Lily Rabin, people like this, particularly women, in terms of parts they should play along the line if they're serious. You know, it's easier for men because there are more parts for men, great parts for men than there are for women. And men are still running the business. So the women don't have an equal opportunity.
Yeah.
But one of the parts I wanted to see Susie Stockard, her name is actually Susan Stockard Channing. Did you know that?
Breaking news. No, we got an exclusive on the No Switch Act podcast. No, I didn't know.
Well, there you are.
Yeah.
But so she goes by Stockard Channing. Her first husband's name was Channing. That's how that worked. Anyway, you know, I thought Regina was one of the parts she should play. You know, these great roles, Viola, you know, Rosalind, Cleopatra. They're fantastic parts.
Do you think when you're saying this, do you think every woman needs to play these parts, or is it certain actresses you'll meet along the way where you're no,
of course not. I mean, but people who are serious about mounting the stages of going through it,
sure,
committing to, you know, making themselves useful in the industry, they tick them off.
I love the phrases "pins on the map." I'm gonna start using that. That's great.
It's nice,
I love
isn't
that.
it?
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
And we missed a lot over the years because she had film careers and she had other things going on.
Yeah.
But that was a promise. And interesting thing, everybody who had done it before was dominated by oh God, here I go with the names again. Who wrote it? Come on, help me. The Little Foxes, Lillian.
I didn't know what it was.
Lillian Hellman. Really?
Yeah. No, I didn't know.
Lillian Hellman.
I thought it was my nephew.
That is funny.
It's okay. I had it stored in my back pocket for this.
We're the only ones. We're the only ones laughing.
I know.
Anyway, Miss Hellman had a very strong idea about how the part should be played. From Tallulah Bankhead, Betty Davis, everybody, straight on.
Yeah.
And she was a very tough woman, very strong-willed, very tough woman. And I remember several people said that. I mean, when Mike Nichols did it, you know, when Elizabeth Taylor played it, you had to do a certain thing. And I thought to myself, it's so interesting because Regina is the younger sister of these two awful men in this Southern Jewish middle-class house. And she's like a plaything. She's not serious.
Yeah.
And I thought, she can't come on swinging a wrench. She can't know that. I mean, she's got to learn how to do it. Yeah. So we did this. We had such fun. I had, Stockard wore a pink, peach-colored Southern Belle dress for the first scene, where she's supposed to be entertaining this guy from the North. And then as soon as he left, she went to the kitchen and came back with some chicken, because she didn't want to eat in front of him. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of fun. We took some real chances. And it wasn't much admired in the press. Huh. And 2 years later, somebody wrote a great, great article saying that the most interesting production in a long time was ours, because we looked at that character from a really dimensional way, not just standard. Now, the reason I'm saying this is, I don't know if you know this, but our production of Ghosts got a revival, Lortel Award nomination.
Is that right? Hey, congratulations.
Best Revival of the Year, and Lily Rabe got
Amazing.
nominated.
Awesome.
And my lighting designer, Jaffrey Weidman, as well he should, got nominated.
Amazing.
And the reason I say this is, and I wanted to just mention this to you because of what's happening with you now in terms of being more out front about your writing. I don't know how you feel about reviews. How do you feel about reviews? Do you read them? Are you nervous?
I don't know if it's a defense mechanism or not, but I don't give them a lot of credit.
That's great.
I mean, my opinion on reviews is typically they're coming from corporations that are also in bed with figuring out how to make the most money out of the product. And so sometimes
or the paper.
Right. Sometimes it rises, sometimes it falls, and sometimes it has a point of view. And for me, and this doesn't do justice to any critics, and I say this by saying I don't read any reviews, but I do tend to try and not engage with them because of that reason.
Well, I don't want to sort of take on the West Side or anything, but it's not a good time for criticism right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've said that.
It isn't.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing. And so I heard there was a review I was really looking forward to. I'm not going to mention it.
Yeah.
And
of Ghosts. Or of something else. Of Ghosts.
No, Ghosts. I thought, ooh, this will be good. They'll like this play.
Yeah.
And I missed it. And then I found out at a dinner party it was not a good review.
Mm.
So then I have to do this thing like saying, are you going to look it up, Jack?
Yeah.
Do you really? How badly do you want to hurt yourself,
Should we look it up live right now?
No. No, we're not. But anyway, I looked at a sampling of them.
Yeah.
And they were all kind of mixed.
Yeah.
They were all kind of, they quibbled and they liked it and they didn't and I don't know. And I thought to myself, you go into that theater, you've been there, you've seen it. The audience doesn't breathe.
Right.
They do not breathe.
Yeah.
Of many of the things I've ever done, I've never seen an audience as rapt as they are listening to that great play.
Yeah.
And because they don't know it and they don't know where it's going and they're stunned. And you think to yourself, oh, it's a much better event than they're capable now of really coming to grips with. And so it was kind of nice to free myself of all that. Because I usually, when I ran a theater, I had to read the reviews. Because it was dependent not just on me, it was dependent on the box office and how we marketed things and stuff like this.
You've said this, it's interesting, man, because since I've known you, you've made a point to let me know about the way that shows rise and fall on the reviews.
They do.
And you've said that like on Broadway a bunch of times when we've talked about stuff. And I've wondered sometimes, is that a holdover from that? Is that a mind state you had when you were at the Old Globe that now, okay, it has to apply now? Or is that still the case? And I love hearing you say you're kind of free of that now.
I am.
And that, it could be like famous last words, right? Because obviously, and it's interesting. The one thing I'll add to is because I really like this conversation. It's interesting now, man, not just, with shows, with movies, with, plays, with reviews, there's so many options. The internet has been the great sort of deregulator, right? And we all say that about content, but it's true with opinions. It's true with reviews.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone can have a review. Everyone can sort of have a voice.
Everybody does.
Well, some are weighted more than others, right? It's like, that's one thing I always try to add is like, it's like, obviously the money behind certain reviews just because of the reach they have is going to be more. But I say that to say, in this world, you have to make some sort of noise to stay relevant. And so sometimes I think, as if I were a reviewer, how would you not fall into the trap of trying to find the angle that was the most talked about versus maybe what you truthfully felt? And I have great compassion for that, right? It's like
the career of John Simon, God rest his soul.
Right.
Who in the 80s suddenly was rude and suddenly said terrible things.
Who was he reviewing for? Did he have a publication?
He reviewed for, I can't remember now. He had
like the Times or something, right? Or like the
No, it wasn't. He did never. I don't think he did the Times, but
okay.
It was at the. I don't know. We've lost so many newspapers.
Anyways,
who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
But he wrote for years, and he wrote for magazines, and
he
then he wrote.
Unbelievable.
Really smart man.
Yeah.
And a really good writer.
Yeah.
But he realized that he could get quoted if he said terrible things.
Yeah.
And he said insulting things basically to women.
Yeah.
a terrible comment. I think it was Zoe Caldwell's breasts or something. He really unforgivable, and it still resonates.
Yeah.
But he then became the major person that everybody started to emulate.
Yeah.
I mean, even our dear loving president now seems to be able
Yeah.
to sort of say terrible things because he knows they get carried
Yeah.
into the media. It's unbelievable.
Sometimes I keep hoping, I don't know, I feel this kind of deeply. I was on a meeting before this, and I feel like I call it the Chandler Binging of society, that character from Friends that was so sarcastic. And so everything was a joke and sort of lighthearted and uncommittal really to anything. And I was guilty of that. My chief defense mechanism is being sarcastic and witty. And I'm trying to be better about being earnest, because I realized in my own life, and I think in the arts, I'm so desperate for earnest now.
The importance of being.
Holy cow, I never understood the title of that play till now,
Yeah,
And so I keep hoping something like that can happen with reviews or whatever, right? Where it's like we can sort of, the pendulum will go back, not because we necessarily want to be nice, but because we're desperate for earnestness.
You understand more about pendulums than I do, and you have more faith in them than you do. You talk about them a lot. And I think
I got longer to live, man. I got to have
You do. You do. My options are running out. I'm not going to, I got another 3 inches before I go. But it used to be there were very, very educated people who were laying it out, particularly in the English press. Max Beerbohm being a perfect example of a brilliant writer who put Shaw. Shaw was a great, unbelievable critic before he became a playwright. A music critic as well, and a very astute one. But there were standards, and they held them, and they held people to them. Now it's so interesting, even within my lifetime. I mean, the power of the press, Walter Kerr, Brooks Atkinson, Frank Rich, Ben Brantley. I mean, these massive fists that could come like a terrifying meteor in the night, kill a production or make one. The one thing about Walter Kerr, I will tell you, I loved reading him because he could motivate you to go out and buy a ticket. That's a critic.
Yeah.
That is somebody, if they say, you got to see this and you go out and buy the ticket, that guy is writing, or that woman is writing properly. Anyway, now we have influencers. And now, in an odd way, the press no longer matters. It's all done on. It's all online. I'm telling you, it's all online.
And that's it's almost sort of a great jumping off or jumping in point, because I wanted to talk about Shucked some today. It's like Shucked. Well, first off, you're about to go to London to do Shucked.
I'm Shucked again, yeah.
And I want to say that Shucked is the favorite play I've ever sat through. I
Really?
love it so much.
I know you did.
I mean, I don't know, man.
You saw it in several different. You saw a lot of it over the years.
I think I've seen every version. I think I was there when the real story happened back in Cobb County. I've been there. But
very much.
Yeah, man. I loved it so much, and I loved it the first time I saw it in that barn in Connecticut when you guys were doing that workshop, and I thought it was so special. But
it was.
I want to say that Shucked was something where I know I kept telling you this is so good, this is so good. The reviewers liked it.
Yeah.
But the people in the crowd loved it.
I know.
No one, I think I told you at the end of the last episode, like my mom just had a friend tell her she saw it in Raleigh or Durham in North Carolina. She's already bought a ticket to see it in the other city in North Carolina when it comes back next year. It's like, it's amazing. And that's sort of, that was kind of the power of Shuck, that like, it wasn't this review darling where everyone's going to say it deserves some sort of Nobel Prize, but you love it so much. And I think it's partially because of the earnestness. It's a funny story, but it's trying to say something earnest.
Oh, it has a little heartbeat going on. There's no question about it. And it's curiously touching at the end. And many people tear up at the end, which is very surprising. You don't expect it. I love subversive stuff in the theater. I love to turn that corner at the last minute. But don't forget comedy, man. Comedy screws the press a lot. Yeah, it's just isn't important. They don't understand. They think laughter is easy. They think that anybody can be funny. I don't know what it is. There's no respect for comedy.
Yeah.
And yet, comedy, laughter is God's panacea. Laughter is it's the one. It's the nice. Other than cantaloupe, it's maybe the nicest thing he ever did.
Yeah. Yeah. He really had a good day on cantaloupe.
He said,
but then he got around to laughter. Yeah.
Well, he was working on laughter while he came up with cantaloupe.
Yeah, you got to eat something.
But I mean, it's the miracle of being in a room with thousands of people you don't know, care about, or want to know, and involuntarily at the same moment you expel all the energy and all the air from your lungs because you cannot help it, and you are all laughing at the same thing. That is world peace.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Oh, of course.
But it doesn't have respect. It just doesn't.
Yeah. I wonder if because even as you were saying it, I was thinking to myself, maybe it's because like we're all a little jealous. Because this is weird to say. I mean, you're a funny guy, but it's like for me, sometimes I'll see something that's really funny, and I'll feel a little thing of like, man, I wish I could do that. I wish, I wish I was that fun. Robert Horn, the guy that wrote Shucked, right?
My God.
I'll hear some of his lines are so clever in that show.
Fun.
Lines you've thrown out are so clever.
Really
I'll hear it and I'll be like, yeah, okay.
It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think ultimately, I begin to, and I say this a lot, I think that a sense of humor is maybe the most important human element for me, for attraction, to be drawn in, to want to belong.
Yeah.
I mean, everything fades. A lot of good stuff in your life, you lose your taste for it, you lose your ability to do it, you can't keep it going. Laughter, man, sense of humor gets you right at the end. It really does. I love it. I'm so glad. I am a funny guy. I break break myself up a lot.
Yeah. You deserve it, man. You break me up too.
I know. I love to make you laugh.
Yeah.
And I love to make me laugh. I mean, I laugh in the middle of the night. I'll get up and sort of can't find my pecan or whatever it is and start to laugh. Think, this is really funny, all by myself.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Anyway, this is just to say, at the end of the day, as I step off this part of the world and step onto another one with another job, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We did really good.
Well, that's amazing, man, about Ghost. Sorry, we will tie it together. Ghost getting nominated for that award.
Really proud of it.
Obviously proud for Lily, right? Obviously proud, like, for the show in general, proud for your lighting designer. Is it something, do you take a piece of, because we talked about it, you went through that process of, okay, I tried something, didn't quite land how I wanted it. I went in, I fixed it. Now it's landing really well. Is there a part of you that can kind of pat yourself on the back and say, you know what? It wasn't just I had an idea. Man, I fixed that. I did what a director does, which is I made adjustments on the fly and I made this work. And like, I don't think I still got it is the sentiment, but I still got it,
Oh, I still got it.
No, I know.
Or I wouldn't be working.
No, I know that. But I just mean, like, I just love that we've been able to talk about it over 10 or 11 episodes.
Yeah.
Seeing you're in the throes of, I got to fix it. Yeah. Then you fix it. Now you're on the other side. You get nominated for an award. Like someone like Lily, who has such a tough role that you've talked about on here, about how hard she had to work and helping get her there, and emotionally, because you seem so much lighter now than you did 2 weeks ago. I am. Coming out of Ghost, right?
So do you, by the way.
Well, I'm a reflection of you, man. We're all mirrors of each other. But I don't know, man. I just think that's great. And then, and so now you're going to London. You're going to do Shucked. Briefly, I just want to say Shucked, we don't have to go into a whole summary, but Shucked is the story about a place called Cobb County.
Yeah.
Where it runs on corn. Yeah. One day the corn dies.
Yeah.
And there's a girl in Cobb County that is going to save the day.
Yeah.
And then hilarity ensues from there. Yeah. And we don't have to go any more than that. But I'm curious. I remember coming to visit you when you were still living on the Upper West Side, and you were telling me, it was during COVID. And I tell people this story all the time. I'm sure I'll tell it again. But I would come visit you on the Upper West Side, and it was just you and the dogs. You were telling me about this country musical. And it was called Shucked, and you were having meetings over Zoom. And there was this balance of being afraid at this point, I don't know, 81 at that time. At this point in my life, I've devoted 50 years to the theater, more than that. Am I going to be able to do it again? Because no one knew what was going on with COVID. And at the same time, you were working on this musical. and I didn't really know about. I just heard you say a country musical. I didn't get it till later. But when it first came to you, was it the humor that you're like, I like this? Was it the music? Like, how does that process go when you're getting excited about a project or taking one on? Do you remember what you were thinking? Because it was.
Well, it's a really interesting question, only because I'm not quite sure how to answer it. I was asked to go pitch for it.
Okay.
I was invited. My first agent, my former agent, Phyllis Wonder, who's more a literary agent than a theater agent, but she got a call and they said they would like to see me. And it was a key moment in this part of my career because she was retiring and Joe Mahota CAA was sort of scooping me up a little bit. And CAA was shocked because Joe said to me one night, he said, "Did you pitch for the Hee Haw musical?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he said something no one has ever said to me. He said, "You don't pitch. Things are offered to you." And I thought, really?
Set up a little straight.
Well, I sort of missed that invitation. I don't know where that happened.
Now you tell me.
Anyway, right. I went this night to see them. Now I'm not a country guy.
Yeah.
I love country. I love all that music. I've always loved it, and had a major relationship in Houston years ago. So I had boots and spurs and the whole deal.
Sure.
I went there.
Sure. Wait, hold on. I just want to touch on that. You went full cowboy when you were dating a guy in Houston?
Let's not go. We wouldn't have to linger on this yet.
Okay. All right.
But I did have cowboy boots, and I was given spurs, and I won.
That's a sign. That's when you know it's serious.
It wasn't, but there you go.
You got a nice pair of spurs out of it.
I did. So anyway, I went to talk to them, and I just lit up. I can't explain it. I just lit up, and I thought, boy, I know this is really I can do this.
Yeah.
I don't even know why, but I could. And they didn't choose me. I didn't get the job because the producers, it was all a bit of a shame. They had who they wanted, the original producers, and they had to go through the whole process of seeing other people. Mm-hmm. And John Rando, other people I know and have worked with, all went up. None of us got the job. And they did a production of it in Dallas, and it failed, and it almost died. And then our producer refound it and brought it back, and they had remembered me. The writers said, "No, we wanted him all along. We wanted him." Yeah. So there was some vibe that we were sharing, and I never questioned it, Alan. I never questioned it. I just thought, I know what I'm doing. I know I can do this. And we did it.
Did you feel like the material though I'm trying to think back through your catalog that I look at on Wikipedia before we have these conversations. Was there a musical that felt like a touch point, or do they all feel brand? I mean, you've said this before that you approach each one like it's brand new, but was there something where you were like, and this is this doesn't have to be the answer, but were you like, oh, I see in this the DNA of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or I see in this the DNA of, okay.
No, I've never done anything like this.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, I shouldn't be doing this. There's something wrong with this picture. And I think everybody thought that too.
Not the writers.
No, and nor my colleagues, may I say. My colleagues, they were all sort of stunned because it's obviously a show that could have missed the mark easily. Yeah. And somebody said a wonderful thing to me about the production, that everyone was in the same world. Yeah. And I was actually... Go ahead, sorry. Well, just to say that as loopy and hysterical and silly as it was, they all believed it. Yeah. I would say... And I think that is... I actually correct myself. That's the root of Hairspray. That when I went in to do Hairspray, I took it very seriously. I knew there was drag in it, it was all sorts of stuff going on, but I was there in 1962. Yeah, I was at the University of Michigan in 1962 as a graduate student. It was all that stuff was serious. We were serious about it all. It was hilarious, and it was fresh and new, and we were learning about Black music and all sorts of things that had not really been privy to before, but we weren't casual about it. We believed it.
Yeah.
So I made those kids, I made them believe that, commit to it. And that made the difference in Hairspray.
Yeah.
And it made the difference in this too. So there is a link there between those two, I think.
And that's a great point about Shucked. Like when you watch it, it feels, like you said, it's zany, but you always go for the ride because it just feels like, oh yeah, this is the place. This is how we act here. Another reason I've always thought why you're so perfect for it is the humor in it doesn't pick sides. It's not punching down. It's not punching up. It's just, it's funny and it's heartfelt. And you are that kind of person. And so obviously I don't know the roster of musical directors and, you know, the higher echelons of Broadway, but I do know you and your style of humor is that same sort of everything more or less from a warm place, more or less.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying like that fits to me Shucked in a way that feels like simpatico. You know what I mean?
I'm also fascinated by the rules of comedy and farce because they are stringent. And what you cannot be in on the joke. The thing that's delicious for an audience is the people on the stage are going to crash. There's no way they're not going to crash. You can see it.
Yeah.
They don't. That's funny.
Yeah.
And and it's been off quoted by me about me, and Jerry Mitchell, God bless him, says it to every show he does. I used to make them say, "Put on your makeup mirror. You're not funny. It is."
Huh.
And that's the way to do comedy.
Yeah.
It's just the more serious you are, the funnier it is.
Yeah. Is that so I know that's what you tell actors and actresses. It sounds like that's how you approach it. It's the writer's job to be funny. We're supposed to let it all live out. The piece is funny.
Some of the laughter in Shucked went on so long. I said, here's what you've got to do. You actually have to, don't hear the laughter. Think it's wind.
That's funny. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you're not thinking, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
That's funny.
I know.
And so you get into it, and I just remember over COVID, you working through it. And I remember, so when you take it and what was the process like? You took it first to Connecticut, right? At the O'Neill.
We were at the O'Neill. We did a workshop there.
And was that a couple nights? I remember I came one night, but how long did things like that?
Maybe
a week or two?
I never know. No, there's a prescribed period of time. It's like 2 weeks or something like this you get, and then you have to do it.
Got it. Okay.
And it's prescribed by the union.
Yeah.
It's this kind of situation, that kind of situation. It's all regular. It's all regulated.
Did you develop Hairspray from this point as well? Like were you were involved
I
longer?
I inherited Hairspray because Robbie Marshall, who was my choreographer when we did Damn Yankees, he got the movie at Chicago.
Got it.
And so they were in pre-production.
Yeah.
And most of it was cast. Some of it wasn't, but almost all of it was cast. So I went in and heard a reading and worked with them on a reading. But he asked them to wait 2 years for him to finish the film. And Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman had been waited so long for this opportunity.
Yeah.
They didn't want to wait any longer.
Yeah.
And Margot Lyon chose me. So I just inherited that. No.
I was just thinking that, that's interesting that when you pulled the old switcheroo with Mr. Abbott, that ultimately leads to Hairspray because you work with Robbie Marshall. I don't know if you worked with him before, but it's like it sort of daisy links its way to Hairspray, which obviously it's, was your biggest one up until that point, I guess.
Yeah, I've actually never thought of it that way, but there is a kind of string going through there. It is.
Well, and you stood. I try to, and again, whether I'm looking backwards at patterns or not, it's like I love when people do something out of character, maybe, or stand up for themselves, or make a choice that, like, maybe it doesn't pay off as big as you'd like it in the moment. Maybe it pays off two pieces on the game board down the road. You know what I mean? And so, like, whether or not you can draw a line from Hairspray to Damn Yankees or not, it's like that's kind of an interesting link.
I think that's true, though. I mean, I think the big hits are just, as I've said, they just feel good. They don't teach you anything.
Yeah.
And that's a lucky thing. But you're adjusting, you're moving all the time. You're trying to figure out how to get around that, how to make that pay off in an odd way. And you get, like anything, you get better at it because you keep doing it. You're allowed to do it more often.
Yeah.
The extraordinary thing about experience, when you get to this stage in your life and you're still working, my God, it's such a long road. And you think, you can't even see where it all started, but there's a lot of shit, you just know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
So just because I want to track the whole trajectory before we get to London, but it's like, so then you went from the O'Neill to then Salt Lake City, right? You guys did out of town at Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Which I remember coming to too. And I remember you being like, I don't know if these Mormons are going to like it.
Well, I thought, no, I love that whole idea, because I thought these people are not, I mean, whatever you want to say, they're a contained universe of people who are very much, they're very, how do you say it? There's a consistency. There's a spirit about them. They're not like New Yorkers, or they're not like people from Boston or people from Florida. They're very sort of protected in an odd way. And I wanted it to be someplace innocent.
Yeah.
To see if we could not just hit that note right. And it's pretty, some of it's sort of naughty, not vulgar, but it's pretty, it tests, it's pretty racy.
Yeah.
They loved it.
Oh, yeah.
The Mormons loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, they were so, oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, of course. And
loved
what I love too, man, like in a community like that, I think, and again, I say like, it's just a different community, right? It's like, people with different sort of way of grouping themselves.
Right.
Because I think Salt Lake City is a diverse place as well. But anyways, I say that to say family is very important. I feel like in that community, there was an emphasis. I remember being there and having experiences where like you understood like whole families were coming to the theater is what I felt like I was seeing. Same thing with Shuck. There's an emphasis, even though it's sort of a build your own, it's a family, it's a story about family and coming together, and family does this for each other, even when it's outsiders. And like, that's sort of an interesting thing that I think they really related to as well.
The last performance on Broadway of Shucked was the most amazing and unusual theatrical experience, I think, of my life, because everybody that was there most of the people were there must have been there 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
It was not like they were people who wanted one more sip at that great lip,
Yeah.
And so as a result, we were getting standing ovations for jokes. Some of their favorite jokes they would get, and they would go nuts. And you thought, who are these people?
They're Shucked groupies, man.
I'd never seen anything like that's. Never happened to me in my life ever.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. Those were real aficionados.
Yeah,
who were dyed in the wool. They didn't come once. They didn't come. They came 7 or 8 times to see that show. Amazing.
So we're at the O'Neill. We're at Salt Lake City. Then it moves to Broadway. You guys do really well. I think you probably did you do better business than you thought? I remember talking with you about it, and there was a feeling of will it work or will it not? And it ran for a little. I mean, I felt like it maybe did a little better than you thought, or did I misread that?
I don't know. We never really. I mean, we should have been the Book of Mormon.
Yeah. That's what
we should have been the next.
I told Mike Bosner and Chris Till in Salt Lake City. I thought it was ironic. I remember when I came to see it, I told them, I was like, yeah, in the home of Book of Mormon, this is the next Book of Mormon.
Yeah, it should have been.
Yeah.
And why it wasn't, I don't know. I thought it would run like at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's found its way now. The Road loves it.
Oh, of course. So it's out on this regional tour now.
It's out on the national tour.
Yeah, or national tour.
And they're doing gangbusters.
Yeah.
And it's all the reports are always the same. They start quiet and then they go crazy, and then later in the week it starts to build because people come back.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what it is. They
tell their friends like, hey.
Yeah.
Bobby, I know you never like to go to plays. It's like I think about my dad going to see it, right? It's like he's not like a play guy.
No.
But I really think he'll really enjoy this.
Of course he will.
Just because it's so much fun. It's like sometimes it feels like a stand-up comedy show. And then it feels like a country music concert. And then it feels like this great story with a lot of heart underneath.
Yep.
It has all the elements.
And it's a terrific score. Unbelievable score.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Very proud of it.
It's amazing. And so now you're moving, because this is the one question I want to ask you before we get out of here. You're moving to London now to do it. You've
Yep.
already cast it. You
Yep.
guys are going to do it in an outdoor theater, right?
The
Regent's Park?
The Regent's Park, yeah.
The Regent's Park.
This is the first time they will have done a premiere, a new musical. They do revivals, but they've never done a new piece. So they're also excited. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They're really excited.
When you, as the director, you've done it on Broadway, it's out on the national tour now. As you move to this, are you working on it? Are you doing things? Are you just logistically figuring out how to capture the essence you had at a new space? Like, what is that thought process for you?
How do you land the joke?
Huh. It all comes back to that.
It comes like, how do I get this into the audience as directly and honestly as possible? And how give them the best time I know how to do it. It's almost a musical question you're asking. It's like trying to find the right, it's what it is.
Yeah.
And
you're not trying to fix things at this point. You're not trying to reinvent things. You're not.
It's a very different shape to the theater, and it's outside and all of that. So we have to make some changes, and we're hoping that it's successful enough that it moves to the West End.
Yeah.
But this is an outdoor venue, so we're making compromises that wouldn't happen if we're sort of pushing it toward the version that we do on the road, because frankly, that's the best version we've ever done. Yeah. And it's streamlined now, and I like the set better. I like everything about it better. And so if we can get that into the West End, that would be the best version of it to do. So I'm trying to figure out how to fit this square peg into this round hole and make it perfect,
Yeah. It's fun. Dude, it's going to be perfect.
And the great thing is, I really didn't think they could do it. I thought they'll not be able to sing this material, and they're not going to be able to. Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Yes,
it gets back to your thing about the world has homogenized. Everyone's kind of the same.
Get over yourself. It's not that we all wear the same clothes now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do.
Oh yeah, of course. No, and I think that's. I mean, I told you that one of the questions someone wanted me to ask you. My mom wanted me to ask you was like, are they going to speak with Southern accents? And it's
they're asking about it. Well, that isn't actually, the accent isn't Southern. It's not meant to be Southern.
Sure.
It's meant to be Midwest. It's meant to be country Midwest. Mm-hmm. But there, look at Parker Posey. I mean, right. You can make anything up now and people believe it.
Yeah. Of course. That's cool.
Are you watching that?
No. What is it?
White Lotus. Oh
no, I know. Everyone watches stuff.
People
watch TV nowadays. I don't know.
They do. I'm not a big fan, but that's another question.
Yeah, I hear people talking about it all the time. I'm not sure.
It's okay.
You told me to watch Adolescence, though. You said that was a really powerful thing.
Important. That's an important piece.
Yeah.
You haven't done it.
We'll see. No, man. I just watch old stand-up comedy specials. Laughter is the cantaloupe from God. A wise man once said that.
Yes, it's true.
So I got to eat more cantaloupe.
No, the nicest. He didn't say that. He said it's the nicest thing other than cantaloupe that God did for us. Laughter and cantaloupe.
I agree.
I love cantaloupe.
Me too, man. And I love laughter. All right. That was amazing, Jack. Thank you. So when do you take off? In the next few days, right?
Tomorrow night, we go out to the TWA terminal and stay in the cute hotel. And an 8:00 flight on Saturday morning. And I'm in rehearsal on Monday.
Amazing.
On it goes.
The Brits will be lucky to have you.
I hope so.
So I look forward to talking to you over there, and we'll keep it moving.
I'm bringing everything that I have to pack this damn machine.
We'll figure it out. The sun's if you can't pack the light, the sun is a great light.
Do we know him?
Yeah, we'll get his schedule. All right. Thank you, Jack. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.